All right, let's jump into our first question here. And this is actually one that I've had myself about what happens when we tinker with AI. Taurus wrote in, how would you apply applicable security controls such that an organization would require for AI initiatives to secure data without prohibiting the intended purpose of AI use?
So I'll be upfront. I'm not sure anybody knows the answer to this yet. I mean, we are very, very early in this AI journey, um, and we're still even trying to figure out what the applicable security controls even are, let alone how to apply them. I mean, clearly there is this tension between AI needs data. Are you going to be able to, not only for training but just to use it for something useful? You have to give it some data, and a lot of times that data is going to be internal, proprietary data, or something that you should keep private for maybe personal or business reasons. And I know that this is an area that's being worked on right now. The best thing that I think we know how to do today, and that's just today, is putting policies in place and maybe some basic technical restrictions about the use of like cloud AI or AI as a service, and rather than that, bring bring in the idea of local large language models or local AI that you run on your own computer. So you're not sending any of this proprietary information to a third party service. I did notice that just today, right, the White House is putting out a executive order that has a lot of things to say about AI and privacy and security of information. They don't actually know the answers either. But the reason I bring this up is because they call that out as one of this, actually, a couple of the specific points in that executive order have to do with how can you, use AI with your data without necessarily giving your data to a third party service, or compromising its privacy and security. So I don't know the answer yet, but I know that we as a society are working through this, and I hope it won't be too long before we start having some answers.
You know, David, there have been a couple of studies that have shown that AI is actually getting dumber as time progresses. Do you think that it could be controls like Taurus described that's leading to that?
I think probably so. I mean, we spend a lot of time putting guardrails around AI, right? And anytime you put guardrails around something, you do kind of decrease the answer space a little, like the possibilities of what it can tell you back. And in most cases, these are good though. So I'm not too worried about AI getting dumber. I'm far more worried about AI getting more biased or more racist, or more hateful, more spiteful, and amplifying all these like bad parts of human nature, because we're training it on human output, and so all that stuff is in there. And I'm not so worried about AI getting dumber though. I think it's already pretty smart. It's going to be getting smarter, and we're still learning how all this works. Even the AI experts really are still learning how to do all this better.
All right, let's move on to our next question. This one's from Ernesto, who asked, given the concerns many have about the risk of job displacement due to AI, does this understanding aid in refining our career paths in light of AI integration?
I would say there is risk of job displacement, but like I mentioned, it's not as much in cybersecurity. There will probably be some shift. And I would say that applies also to broader IT. Um, we focus as humans, we tend to focus on the things that we hope or that we fear. And a lot of the AI things that we've been reading tend to heavily weight toward the things that we fear. And that's things like job displacement or, being suddenly obsolete. But I don't think that that's as likely in either IT or cybersecurity. There's certainly job functions where that is more likely, but less for us. Also, I think we have the possibility of leveraging AI technology to actually make our jobs better, but also to make it a little bit easier to get started in our chosen field. One of the things that cybersecurity is known for, unfortunately, is being very difficult to break into. Most of that is because a lot of companies that would normally hire cybersecurity people, they don't, they need somebody who can hit the ground running, which is not necessarily the best description of an entry level candidate, right? But with AI to help raise the output or the abilities of entry level folks, like maybe we will see more companies being willing to open up more entry level jobs. So rather than job displacement, maybe it'll actually be the opposite. Maybe it'll be more job placement.
All right. Now, you mentioned cybersecurity and IT, but we got a question in from the chat about developers. This one's from Cheyenne. With the increased usage and evolution of AI, will there still be needs for software engineers in general? And I think this is a field that's particularly affected because you hear about tools like Microsoft Copilot that will go in and actually write code for you. So, is that going to lead to just engineers are more efficient, or are there going to be less engineers? Do you have any thoughts on that field?
Yeah, I think right now we're not really looking at a big decrease in the number of software engineers. Like I said, I don't think AI right now is in a position to actually replace software engineers. It's more augmentation. It will make our existing software engineers faster and more efficient. There might be some minor issues, but I think mostly those would be things like uh, software engineering contracts, maybe shorter duration, like when you're hired as a contractor to do a specific project. Those might be a little bit shorter duration. The individual projects might pay a little bit less, but on the other hand, you might be able to fit in more projects in the same amount of time. So it might actually be to your benefit. Um, I think the state of AI code generation for the foreseeable future is going to be kind of mediocre, though. So you're still going to need a good software engineer to look over it, make sure that everything's working correctly, make sure that we're following secure design principles, and all kinds of things. Like I said, we train on all kinds of code, bad and good, and you know that probably leads to an average code quality, which is not really that great for most applications. So we'll still need people.
All right, we've got just a little bit of time left, but I want to go back to that idea of a dystopian future that Keanu Reeves promised us in The Matrix. Colin wrote in, I recently read an article about the concern with super AI and its possibility of getting out of our control. Is that still a major concern? And I guess instead of Matrix, I should have gone Terminator on this one, right? Skynet.
Yeah, either way, right? I mean, they're both talking about enslaving humanity. I'm I'm really not that concerned about that. Like, we are pretty far from that. I mean, I've been reading, and even in the last few days, especially over the last week or something, a bunch of headlines saying like how AI experts say that we're only 5 years or 10 years from artificial general intelligence, which is, the kind of AI that they're talking about in those movies. But I don't really believe them. So yeah, I'm not too worried about that right now. I think that those voices get amplified a lot because we fear that, but I don't really believe that it's a realistic scenario anytime soon.
All right, David. Well, I thank you for reassuring us, setting us all at ease, and we can see the benefits and some of the not so risks with using AI. Thanks again for taking the time to present to us and answer our viewers' questions.
Oh, thanks for having me.